chosen ones, why feeling lost in reality is a huge gift from Him? There comes a point in every chosen one's journey when everything feels like it's falling apart. The world you once knew begins to dissolve. The beliefs you once held begin to crack. The identity you spent years building suddenly feels foreign, empty, meaningless. And in that moment you feel lost, utterly, completely lost. But what if I told you that this feeling, this terrifying sense of disconnection from everything you once knew, is not a curse, but a gift? What if I told you that this experience of feeling lost is not a sign that you are failing, but a sign that you are awakening? Most people have been conditioned to fear the unknown. From the moment we are born, we are given a script to follow: what to believe, how to behave, what success looks like, what failure means. Society builds a framework around us, a carefully constructed illusion designed to keep us in line, to keep us comfortable, to keep us from questioning too much. But the chosen ones, the ones who are destined for something greater, cannot stay confined within that framework forever. At some point, life will shake them awake. At some point, they will begin to see through the illusion. And when that happens, everything they once relied on, every belief, every attachment, every sense of certainty will begin to dissolve.
Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound spiritual lesson.
This is where most people panic. This is where they feel like they are losing themselves, because to the untrained mind, losing the world you once knew feels like death. But in reality, it is rebirth. It is the necessary destruction of the false self, the conditioned self, the version of you that was built by external forces rather than by your own soul. And this is why feeling lost is a gift, because it means that the old you is dying, and in its place something far greater is trying to emerge. But here is the catch. Most people resist this process. They cling to the old even as it crumbles. They try to rebuild the illusion even though their soul is calling them to let it go. And this resistance is what causes suffering. The truth is, you are not lost. You are in transition. You are in the space between who you were and who you are becoming. And this space, this in-between, feels disorienting because it is unfamiliar. But unfamiliar does not mean wrong, it simply means new. The question is, will you trust this process? Will you allow yourself to surrender to this transformation? Or will you fight to hold on to a version of yourself that no longer serves you? Because this is the choice that every chosen one must face, and how you navigate this moment will determine everything that comes next. Most people think that when they feel lost, they need to find themselves. But what if you were never meant to find yourself? What if you were meant to create yourself? What if feeling lost is not about searching for something external, but about clearing away everything that is not truly you, so that the real you, the limitless, powerful, awakened version of you, can finally emerge? Think about it. Every powerful transformation in nature requires a phase of destruction, of uncertainty, of chaos. The caterpillar does not simply find its wings. It dissolves completely inside the cocoon before it is reborn as something entirely new. The seed does not simply become a tree. It must first break apart, surrender to the soil, and allow itself to be transformed by forces beyond its control. The same is true for you. You are not here to remain the same. You are here to evolve. And evolution requires loss. It requires uncertainty. It requires surrendering to the unknown. So if you are feeling lost right now, take a deep breath and realize This is exactly where you are supposed to be. This moment is not your enemy, it is your initiation. It is the fire that will burn away everything that is not real, everything that is not aligned, everything that is not truly you. And if you can trust this process, if you can allow yourself to let go instead of holding on, you will emerge from this fire more powerful, more clear, more aligned than ever before. But here's the deeper question. If everything you once relied on was stripped away, your identity, your beliefs, your attachments, who would you be? Who are you beyond the labels, beyond the expectations, beyond the stories you have been told about yourself? Because this is what the experience of feeling lost is truly about. It is not about losing yourself. It is about discovering the real you for the first time. And this is why He allows this to happen. This is why the universe or God or whatever higher force you believe in orchestrates these moments of deep confusion, of disconnection, of feeling lost. Because if you never felt lost, you would never seek deeper truth. If your old world never crumbled, you would never build a new one. If you were never stripped of everything false, you would never find what is real. So I ask you, what if this feeling of being lost is not something to escape, but something to embrace? What if, instead of trying to fix this moment, you allowed yourself to fully experience it? What if you stopped searching for answers and simply sat with the unknown, trusting that something greater is unfolding? Because the ones who truly awaken are not the ones who fight this process, they are the ones who surrender to it. The death of the old self, while losing everything you thought you were, is the beginning of true power. There is a moment in every chosen one's journey when they realize that the version of themselves they have clung to for so long is no longer real. It is a ghost, a collection of memories, beliefs, and identities that no longer fit. And yet, most people fight to hold on to it. They resist the death of the old self because they fear what will come next. But here is the truth. Nothing new can be born until something old has died. And this is where true power begins, not in adding more, not in seeking more, but in letting go of everything that is no longer aligned with who you are meant to be. Most people live their entire lives trapped in an identity that was never truly theirs. From the moment we are born, we are given names, roles, expectations. We are told who we should be, what we should do, what success looks like, what failure means. We build our sense of self around these ideas, believing they define us. But then something happens. Something cracks. Maybe it's a sudden realization, a painful loss, a deep spiritual awakening. Whatever it is, it shakes the foundation of everything we thought we knew. And in that moment, we are faced with a choice: cling to the illusion or step into the unknown. This is where most people hesitate, because stepping into the unknown means surrendering control. It means admitting that everything you once believed about yourself might not be true. It means letting go of the old stories, the old attachments, the old ways of being. And that is terrifying. But it is also the only way to access your true power. Because the real you, the limitless, awakened, powerful you, has been buried beneath layers of conditioning, programming, and fear. And only by allowing the old self to die can the real self emerge. Think of a snake shedding its skin. It does not fight to keep the old layer. It does not mourn it. It simply lets it go, knowing that it no longer serves its growth. This is what you must do. You must be willing to release everything that no longer aligns with the highest version of yourself. And this is not easy. It means letting go of old beliefs, old habits, old relationships. even old versions of yourself that once felt safe. But safety is an illusion. Growth does not happen in comfort. Transformation does not happen without destruction. So if you feel like everything is falling apart, if you feel like you are losing yourself, understand this: you are not losing yourself. You are losing the false self. You are losing the version of you that was built on fear, on expectations, on limitations. And that is not a tragedy, that is liberation. Because once the old self is gone, you are free. Free to create, free to expand, free to step into a version of yourself that is not shaped by the past, but by your highest potential. But here's the thing: most people never reach this point. They get stuck in the in-between. They feel the old self dying, but they resist it. They cling to what is familiar, even when it no longer serves them. They fear the unknown more than they desire transformation, and so they remain trapped, caught between who they were and who they are meant to be. But the chosen ones, the ones who truly awaken, make a different choice. They do not run from this moment. They do not fight the death of the old self. They surrender to it. And in that surrender, something miraculous happens. The fear dissolves, the confusion fades, and in its place, clarity begins to emerge. A new sense of self, not built on conditioning, but on truth. A new sense of power, not based on external validation, but on inner knowing. A new sense of purpose, not dictated by society, but discovered within. But here's the deeper question: who are you beyond the stories you have told yourself? Who are you beyond the labels, beyond the past, beyond the version of yourself that you have been trying so hard to hold on to? Because until you answer that, you will always feel lost. Not because you are lost, but because you are still carrying a version of yourself that is no longer real. And this is why feeling lost is a gift, because it forces you to ask these questions. It forces you to strip away the illusions and face yourself fully. It forces you to let go of everything that is not truly you, so that what remains is something pure, something powerful, something real. So if you feel like you are losing yourself right now, take a deep breath and understand you are not breaking, you are being rebuilt. You are not falling apart, you are being remade. And the only thing standing between you and your highest evolution is your willingness to let go. The path of the awakened. How to rebuild yourself from nothing and become unstoppable. Once the old self has crumbled, you stand in the emptiness. No longer who you were, but not yet who you are becoming. This space, the void, is where most people falter. They feel exposed, uncertain, stripped of the identity they once clung to, and in desperation they try to rebuild themselves using the same broken pieces of their past. But the ones who truly awaken do something different. They do not rush to fill the void, they embrace it. They sit in the emptiness and allow something new, something pure, something powerful to emerge. Because here is the truth. The moment you let go of the false self, you become limitless. You are no longer bound by the beliefs, fears, and conditioning that once controlled you. You are no longer trapped in the expectations of others. You are free, and in that freedom, you have the power to rebuild yourself in any way you choose. But the question is, who will you become? Most people try to rebuild their identity based on who they think they should be. They look to society, to their past, to external influences to shape their new self. But the path of the awakened is different. It is not about becoming what the world expects, it is about becoming what your soul has always known you are. And that requires deep, unwavering self-honesty. It requires stripping away every external influence and asking, what do I truly want? What resonates with the deepest part of me? What is my highest path? And here's where most fail. They are afraid to answer those questions because the truth, the real truth, is often inconvenient. It does not always fit into the mold of what is expected. It may call you to walk away from everything familiar. It may demand that you step into a level of power that terrifies you. It may require sacrifices, risks, complete reinvention. And most people are not willing to do that. They would rather rebuild a safer version of themselves, one that does not challenge the status quo, one that does not require too much discomfort. But those who do this remain trapped. They never reach their full potential. They never become unstoppable. Because to become unstoppable, you must be willing to burn away everything that is not aligned with your highest self. You must be willing to stand alone in the unknown and trust that something greater is guiding you. You must be willing to step into the version of yourself that does not seek permission, does not need validation, does not fear loss, because they know that everything they need is already within them. So how do you rebuild yourself from nothing? You start by listening, not to the noise of the world, but to the depths of your own being. You silence the external voices and tune into the frequency of your soul. You allow yourself to be guided not by fear but by truth. And then you take action, bold, unwavering action. You do not wait for clarity. You do not wait for certainty. You move forward, even in the darkness, knowing that each step will reveal the next. This is the difference between those who remain lost and those who become unstoppable. The lost ones hesitate, they doubt, they seek reassurance, but the awakened ones, they trust. They move with conviction, not because they have all the answers, but because they know that they are the answer. They do not ask, "What if I fail?" because they understand that failure is impossible when you are walking the path of truth. And here is the most powerful realization. You are already that person. The unstoppable version of you is not something you need to find, it is something you need to allow. It is already within you. It has always been within you. But for it to fully emerge, you must stop clinging to the past. You must stop trying to rebuild a version of yourself that is safe, comfortable, acceptable. You must be willing to step fully into the unknown, not as someone searching for themselves, but as someone creating themselves. Because that is what it truly means to awaken. It is not about discovering something external, it is about remembering who you have always been. And once you remember, once you step into that knowing, nothing can stop you. No fear, no doubt, no external force can shake you. Because you are no longer living from ego, you are living from truth. The final transformation. How to walk through life as a master of reality. There comes a moment in the journey of the awakened when everything shifts. When you no longer move through life as a seeker, but as a creator. When you no longer question your existence, but command it. This is the final transformation, the moment when you fully embody your power, not as an idea, not as a hope, but as an undeniable truth. And when this happens, life itself bends to your will. Most people live as prisoners of their own mind. They are trapped in cycles of doubt, fear, and hesitation, believing that life is something that happens to them rather than something they shape with every thought, every action, every vibration they emit. They look at their circumstances and believe they are powerless. They wait for signs, for permission, for external forces to shift before they move. But the ones who truly awaken, the ones who become masters of reality, understand that the external world is nothing more than a mirror of their internal state. They do not wait for life to change. They change, and life follows. This is the secret that separates the ordinary from the extraordinary, the weak from the powerful, the lost from the chosen. Reality is not fixed. It is fluid, malleable, shaped by the energy you bring to it. And once you understand this at the deepest level, you stop reacting to life and start creating it. You stop negotiating with your dreams and start demanding them. You stop seeing obstacles as limitations and start recognizing them as illusion. But to reach this state, you must let go of everything that keeps you small. Every doubt, every excuse, every belief that tells you that you are anything less than limitless. Because here is the truth: life does not respond to what you say you want, it responds to who you are being. It responds to the energy you hold, the frequency you emit, the conviction with which you move. And most people never step into their full power because they are still waiting for external validation. They are still waiting to feel ready. But the masters of reality do not wait. They decide, they declare, they embody their power fully, and the universe has no choice but to align. Think about it. Every great leader, every visionary, every world changer did not wait for permission. They did not ask the world if they were worthy. They stepped forward as if they already were. They moved with such certainty, such unwavering belief, that reality itself had to reconfigure around them. And this is what you must do. You must decide right now that you are no longer a passive participant in your life. You are the architect of it. You must stop hoping and start knowing. Stop wishing and start commanding. Stop seeking and start embodying. But here is where most people falter. They understand this conceptually, but they do not live it. They know they have power, but they do not claim it. And this is where true mastery is tested. Not in what you think, but in how you act. When fear arises, do you shrink back, or do you move forward anyway? When doubt creeps in, do you let it dictate your decisions, or do you override it with certainty? When the world tells you that something is impossible, do you accept that as truth, or do you prove it wrong? This is the difference between those who remain trapped in their old patterns and those who walk through life as masters of reality. Because mastery is not about never feeling fear, it is about never letting fear control you. It is not about never facing doubt. It is about never allowing doubt to dictate your actions. It is not about waiting for the perfect moment. It is about realizing that the perfect moment is the one you decide to act in. And this is the final transformation, the moment you stop seeking power and start being power. The moment you stop waiting for life to give you signs and start giving life direction. The moment you fully understand that you are not here to survive, you are here to create. And when you truly embody this, when every thought, every action, every vibration aligns with this truth, reality bends. Doors that seemed locked forever swing open. Paths that seemed impossible reveal themselves. And the life you once dreamed of becomes the life you are living. But the question remains, will you step into this power fully, or will you hesitate? Will you claim your place as a master of reality, or will you continue to wait for something outside of you to change? Because the truth is, There is no more waiting. There is no more searching. Everything you have been looking for is already within you. The only thing left to do is act. So now, in this moment, you must decide, who are you? Are you the person who lets life happen to them, or are you the force that shapes life itself? Because once you decide, once you embody this knowing with absolute certainty, nothing will ever be the same again. You will walk through this world untouchable, unstoppable, unshakable. Not because life will stop testing you, but because you will no longer see those tests as threats. You will see them for what they truly are, opportunities to demonstrate your mastery, and that is the final secret. The world does not change when you wish it would. It changes when you change. It bends when you step into your power so fully that nothing else is possible, and the moment you do, you will understand that you were never lost, you were never broken, you were simply in the process of becoming, and now you are here, now you are ready, now you walk as a master of reality, and nothing will ever be the same again.